I was battling back and forth with keeping my baby because I didn't know if this is something I wanted to go through with, mainly because, again, he wasn't my husband, so it was just hard. And so I remember crying so hard, and I actually went into my mom's room like bawling tears, and I was just like, Mom, I don't want it, and she was like, no, don't say that. She was like, because the baby didn't do anything to you, like, don't say that, like, don't put that in, don't put that out there. So then I just started praying, and that's when I was just like, you know what, like, I'm just gonna keep it. But if I keep this, then I have to give myself to Christ, because I literally cannot do this without God at all. Found out I was pregnant last year, and it was by somebody that I shouldn't have been with, but I was with. And so it was hard because I've always grew up wanting like my husband to be the father of my child, but this was by someone who I knew wouldn't be my husband. So I was battling back and forth with keeping my baby because I didn't know if this is something I wanted to go through with, mainly because, again, he wasn't my husband, so it was just hard. And so abortion just always was something that just I was always against, because I just personally feel like, you kind of make that choice, you know what you're doing, so it's kind of unfair to
Right.
just get rid of it as if it's like an easy way out. So I just didn't like that, but yeah, I was kind of battling between doing that, and it just didn't sit right with me. And I actually came across a video, and she was just speaking about faith, and God was just like, listen, like, you just have to choose between me or the world at this point. Like, if you go through with this, then like I probably would have been as far gone as possible. Like, there's probably no coming back. And so I remember crying so hard, and I actually went into my mom's room like bawling tears, and I was just like, Mom, I don't want it, and she was like, no, don't say that. She was like, because the baby didn't do anything to you, like, don't say that, like, don't put that in, don't put that out there. So then I just started praying, and that's when I was just like, you know what, like, I'm just gonna keep it. But if I keep this, then I have to give myself to Christ, because I literally cannot do this without God at all, not one bit. And I stood on that, and I I stopped doing certain things that I knew I shouldn't have been doing. That was like, that had like such a big stronghold on me. And even still now, I kind of think about those things, but I guess my fear for God is a little too much for me to ever turn back. And so I got baptized, stopped doing what I did doing, and just stopped listening to secular music, stopped watching things that would separate me from God. Because, like, I know. And it's even worse when you know and you go back again.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't either, because he was just giving me too much conviction with certain things. So it was like, even if I wanted to, I couldn't, because he would always be in the back of my mind. So a year later, here we are, me putting my full faith in him and just having comfort and knowing that I have him now this year. And I was thinking about it while I was sitting on the couch, actually, and I was just like, wow, like, this is the first year where I'm actually bringing in my birthday surrounded by people who love God. I was like, man, just come a long way. And I just really appreciate it, and I appreciate my journey, and he's definitely changing me, and I've had so much growth with him, and it's honestly beautiful. Like, I wish more people would try him. Like,
Yeah.
it's honestly gorgeous. Like, you don't get caught up in things. Like, you don't get caught up in reckless things. You don't get caught up in drama. You have so much joy, even when like you go through things. Like, even when you go through like a storm, you're still happy because you're just like, I just have him. Like, so it's just beautiful, and I just really love this journey, honestly. And I'm just wanting it to grow even more, so I can be like on the mature level like you guys are on, and I can just be like quoting scriptures here and there, and I don't know. I'm just pretty happy, honestly. Like, I'm at peace. Definitely.
Yeah, you mentioned how you was, you never wanted to have an abortion. What made you, or do you ever think about like how people can get to a place where they will contemplate things they once hated?
Yeah.
Like what would you say to people, because so many people, they're like, oh, I would never do this and I would never do that. And then Satan will just have you right at the brink of
Yeah.
either doing it or contemplating it. What would you say to people like that?
Honestly, like, don't go back on what you said. Like, don't go back on your word. Like, there's a reason why at one point you said, I will never do this.
Right.
So if you were to do it, then you will never be at peace, honestly. Like, you would always contemplate in the back of your mind, like, man, I should have never did that.
Right.
Because I knew I never wanted to do that. And so I just feel like you just have to just stay, I know this may sound corny, but you just have to stay true to yourself. Like, you just have to be your authentic self and just know that there's a reason why you don't want to do what you want to do. So don't put yourself in an uncomfortable position and still do it just because of the situation that you're in now. Because these things that you say are to honestly help you get through difficult decisions and difficult situations. So it's just like, just stand on it. And once you get through it, you'll feel so good. Like, you'll be really, really glad that you're like, okay, I'm glad that I stood on my word. It's honestly also empowering too. It's like, okay, like, I did that. Like, it's like, I can stand on myself. Like, I can stay true to myself because you. Like, you know you better than anyone else. So you don't want to do it. So don't do it.
Right.
Just because you're in a bind. Like, it doesn't make it any better to not do it.
Yeah, I like what you said about the avoiding the recklessness. Can you elaborate on that some more? Like how giving your life to Christ, how have you noticed, like, you was like, it's like, this is you feel safer, you feel more happier, and then you mentioned, like, you're not making all these reckless decisions. Can you dig into that a little bit more?
Cause I just feel like God lays out the blueprint for your life. Like, he doesn't tell you these things just because he's like, don't do it because I said don't do it. Like, he also said don't do these things for your good. Like, it's because it's to help you. So he tells you, like, for instance, he tells you don't fornicate before marriage. There's multiple reasons on why he tells you not to do that. And obviously one of them led to a reckless, I'm not going to say consequence, but, in the end, I got pregnant by someone who won't be my husband. He tells you don't do it, and yet I still did it. And look, it put me in a bind. Now I'm contemplating all these decisions. Now I'm unhappy. Now I'm crying all the time. Like, he tells you don't do it for a reason. And I just feel like me listening to him, even if he doesn't, even with like not just 10 commandments, he puts conviction in your heart for a reason too, to help you. So I feel like me listening to him is just him guiding me through my life. Like, I pray, Lord, guide me, order my steps. So, okay, let me listen to you, because obviously you know what's best. You've seen the beginning, you've seen the end, you've seen my life, you've already put things in place where it should be. So I'm just going to listen to you. And by doing that and surrendering myself to him and surrendering myself to his will, not my own, but what he wants from me out of my own life, it just helps everything else. And, you know, you may be set back because of like your past mistakes, but like he gives things, I feel like, double sometimes. So it's just listen to him, and you will avoid so much that you could have avoided even early on, honestly.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on the joy? Because you're like glowing. And can you elaborate on the joy? Because sometimes people think that, okay, God could never receive me. I've messed up too bad, you know. But explain the joy that you have, regardless of what happened in the past.
It's just joy knowing that I have a father, and I worship a God who's bigger than anything, and who knows all, who sees all, and he loves you. And it's just like surrendering myself to him brings joy because of that. And like, I may be sad and I'm like, God, like, I'm lonely today. Okay, so he'll give me comfort, you know? Or like, God, like, I'm struggling today. I feel kind of weak. Okay, he'll give you strength. Or God, I need more patience. So he'll may challenge me a little bit, but like, he'll still help me. And it's just like, he listens to you. He loves you. Like, I think the love is just inside of me. Like, his spirit is in me. And his spirit is just so pure. It's just so peaceful when you truly feel the Holy Spirit. Because I think that's what people don't do, is that they don't feel him, because he's alive and he's there. And when he pours out your spirit unto you, it's just like this light and this comfort that you've never experienced ever in your life. It's just so overwhelming. And it's just like, I walk with him every single day. Like, I pray in the morning, I pray at night. I make sure that I pray like, God, let my day be focused around you. And I feel like it just brings me joy. And I see what he does in my life too. Like the prayers I pray, he'll answer. And even if I don't, sometimes he blesses you, you may not even prayed for it.
Right.
Like, it's just beautiful, I think, to like really see it. And it's kind of like, when they said like the scales off your eyes are removed, it's literally that. And I feel like once you really like have that revelation, and then you feel his spirit, like, there's no other feeling but joy in your heart and in your life. Like, there's just nothing else.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, what would you say in closing to whoever's listening to your testimony?
I would say just try him out. Like, it wouldn't hurt. I mean, there's nothing you would lose if you try him out. Like, literally, if you just pray to him and, ask, just ask to feel him, And I know a lot of people say, well, I've done that and I reached out to Jesus and but I'm like, sometimes you have to do things more than once too. Like, don't just pray one time and then sometimes you think it happens. Like, my mom said it actually one time. She was like, people think that God's like a genie and he just magically, you ask for something and it just magically appears. Like, no, that God's not like that. He doesn't operate like that. So just try him out. Just pray and meditate in his word. Read something one day. Just open the Bible maybe and just try him. I mean, it won't hurt. It really won't. It's actually the best thing ever.